So it's very interesting to see the different, I would say, landscapes of gaming and what companies will do when it comes to Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. A lot of companies like Nintendo make family-friendly games, but then also have those games that appeal to more mature audiences. Bayonetta, Mario, whatever the case is, right? All different sides of the board overall. But one thing that I can say definitively is that Microsoft sometimes seems to be confused on what they think can sell and what actually does, or what they think can be a good game, but then actually turns out to be what's happening. Because in a recent, at least report, it's kind of more like hearsay at this point because somebody heard somebody at Microsoft say it. But if the rumors or what this person is alleging is true, Microsoft has essentially stated that nobody cares about Banjo Kazooie. Nobody cares about the bear and the bird, despite many people caring about the bear and the bird. But we're going to get into that, and we're going to get into a number of other interesting topics. But before we do, what's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell to get my videos first. And let's go ahead and jump right into this topic here, because I find this to be very interesting. And this is coming from someone who's not a massive Banjo Kazooie fan, but realizes there is value in an IP like Banjo Kazooie and what it did on the N64 back in the day, considering how small the install base was of the N64 and how well Banjo Kazooie did. Now, according to this report here, or this whatever, Xbox's marketing head apparently told an audience that, quote, nobody cares about Banjo Kazooie. Now, Mr. Aaron Greenberg, you know this guy. This is the same guy that said that Hi-Fi Rush checked all of the important boxes for Microsoft when it comes to metrics and sales, and they're very happy with it. And then like 2 seconds later, Microsoft completely cuts Tango overall and is essentially done, sells off the IP so they can do it somewhere else, right? But remember, it checks every single box. So this is the same guy, right? So Aaron Greenberg from Xbox Games Marketing at Microsoft recently attended a Microsoft Flight Simulator event. And during the time there, a PR person asked fans who had attended which games they wanted to see again, to which one of the attendees shouted Banjo Kazooie. Greenberg allegedly heard the reply and apparently said to the audience at the event, nobody cares about Banjo Kazooie, which is a kind of a bizarre statement, especially considering the success of stuff like Astrobots that we've seen recently, the success of old school platformers that are coming back. People are excited for stuff like Croc and all of that, and of course what Mario does, what Kirby does, what old school platformers can do. So I think that, once again, I started up by saying, you know, Microsoft doesn't necessarily know sometimes what to do or what they can and can't do. And this is a perfect example of having an IP that has some value. You flopped making it into something that it wasn't supposed to be in the Xbox 360 era with Banjo Kazooie nuts and bolts, and then essentially dropped and said never again, and never tried again afterwards. It's not like there was a bunch of attempts from Microsoft at Banjo Kazooie and they said, okay, yeah, we tried it on the 360, we tried it on the Xbox One, we're trying it on the Xbox Series, and nobody's buying the game. It's not even like that. They tried one time a number of years ago, like 20 years ago, or going on 20 years ago, and then that was it. That was it. Then they were done, and they never tried again. They've done some rare replay stuff, but they really actually haven't done anything seriously, and this is the issue with Microsoft. I think that this is one of their issues. They are sitting on something that could be an area where they could improve with children and old school fans in terms of bringing a high quality 3D platformer to the market that can make some waves, and they've done absolutely nothing with it overall. Just like a lot of their IP that they got from Rare when they purchased them, they've done absolutely nothing with them overall, and they've just been sitting, rotting away. And I think that the marketing and at Microsoft, this is the type of stuff that happens when you have leaders there. I'm not saying that Phil Spencer should lose his job or Greenberg. I think they've done a good job in many areas, but when they say, hey, look, we've made a lot of mistakes. Phil Spencer said that himself when it comes to the game decisions and what they decide to fund or not. They've clearly made so many mistakes at this point, and I think that saying stuff like this gives you a sneak peek into their thought process or the atmosphere of the company when they say something like this, especially when you put Banjo in Super Smash Bros., and there was an incredible reaction. It's coming to NSO. There was an incredible reaction. There's still people who do care about this. So if this is true, because I'm speaking in somewhat of a hypothetical, but actions speak louder than words, and the actions of Microsoft pretty much confirm what Mr. Aaron Greenberg is saying here, that they think that nobody cares about Banjo Kazooie. So it is what it is. It's their business. They can run it the way that they want to, and clearly they are, whether it runs it into the ground because they can't sell the Xbox Series, or they have to do something completely different, change their strategy to where they're putting games on everything because they can't sell enough from their own, and Game Pass isn't moving the needle for them. They can do what they want at the end of the day. But I want to hear what you guys think overall when it comes to what Microsoft's marketing allegedly, apparently, supposedly said about Banjo Kazooie. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here, guys. Let's discuss some more about Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake. Now, apparently, this game is a lot of things. And one of those things that this game is that it takes inspiration from one of the best games in the modern history overall, and that is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, wait a minute, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild? This is an old school RPG that was made decades before The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. What are they going to take from it in this remake of an old school game? Well, let's get into that. So this comes from producer Masaki Hayasaka in a recent interview, and he said that Square Enix wanted to capture the same sense of adventure that the Zelda series provides. So here's his exact words. "We really took inspiration from a lot of games, particularly modern games. An example that I'm sure you'll understand is Breath of the Wild, one of the Zelda games. You see a building in a wider open world, and it makes you want to go there and travel in that direction. We wanted to capture that same feeling, so if you see something sparkling in the distance, I hope players will want to go there. This is a vast world. It's really beautiful, so we wanted to make sure players could explore it and be rewarded with finding lots of different and new things." So on one hand, I can absolutely see what he's saying here, seeing something off in the distance and wanting to actually go there and explore and see what's going on there. In Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake, they're replaying an old game, but essentially they're going to be adding a bunch of new things to this old game as well. And even in that old school adventure, you can see things on the world map and where you're going to. Hey, what's that village over there? Or what's that thing over there in the distance? Or where are those enemies? So I can understand that a little bit, especially when you're remaking something with brand new visuals and doing different things. You can add a bit more to it that wasn't there in the original, and the modern visuals are going to give people a better indication of where they need to go or what they can see even in the first place. So I do like what he's saying here. I do think it's a little bit weird considering it's a remake of a game, but I can understand where that can develop into other things because it is a remake of an old school game where they can add some stuff, which they are adding different things to the game. They're taking the same map and the size and everything, but they're adding stuff to it to make it more dynamic as well and to make it a better game. So there's some new content in here, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake does launch on November 14th, 2024. It's coming out pretty soon here as of the time that I'm recording this video, and I'm very much looking forward to playing the game myself. I like the fact that they are adding in new content. This is probably easily the best looking HD 2D game, and I thought that, like, man, Octopath Traveler 2, it looks awesome. That game still looks incredible if you're playing it on PlayStation 5 especially, or PC. Looks great on Switch too for what the Switch can do as well. But I feel that this game, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, takes some of the animations to a new level, and what they've done there with the enemy animation and some of the stuff that you see in the game, in addition to the visuals. They really spent a lot of time finally crafting this game overall, and I think it's going to be beautiful. Once we all get our hands on it and get to play this November, I can see this game being a massive blockbuster worldwide, but especially in Japan, where they have holidays. People don't go to work, production shuts down and costs the Japanese government millions of dollars because people are at home playing Dragon Quest. But at the same time, people are also putting a bunch of money into Dragon Quest, so yeah, you giveth and taketh here and there. But I do think that this game is going to be massive in Japan. I think it's going to be a huge boost to these sales for Square Enix, and something that Square Enix desperately needs. They need a W this year. They've had some good stuff. They've had stuff like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but sales-wise, wasn't quite necessarily there. So Square Enix needs a big sales dub. Visions of Mana definitely seems like it was more of a flop when it comes to sales. We haven't heard anything about the sales numbers, and the studio behind the game is pretty much kaput at this point. So I do feel that this will be the W that Square Enix desperately needs. Overall, this game is going to sell big, especially in Japan. I can see it doing millions in the first week or so, maybe even the first few days. I can see it doing millions across the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and PC platforms altogether. Then, of course, worldwide, I think it's going to do incredible as well. I think that it's also going to do very good as Dragon Quest has become more and more popular when it comes to worldwide sales, especially after the blockbuster of Dragon Quest XI-S. Echoes of an Elusive Age. So I see them doing very well with this game, and it's multi-plat from the very beginning too, which is definitely good. So what do you guys think about Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake taking inspiration from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild? You can let me know in the comment section. But now we are going to move on to the final topic here, and it's a game that I've never covered on this channel, but I wanted to check it out because it looks pretty cool. It's called WUCHANG Fallen Feathers. There was a new Xbox presentation showcasing that they did, and they showed off more of this game, and it definitely caught my attention. It looks really cool. We got 3 new minutes of action, environments, bosses, abilities. Looks dope. So let's go ahead and get a little bit of an overview of this game. Now, it is a Souls-like action RPG. I know they're all over the place, but hey, it is what it is. So let's talk about it. So WUCHANG Fallen Feathers is a Souls-like action RPG set in the land of Su during the dark, tumultuous late Ming Dynasty, playing with warring factions and a mysterious illness spawning monstrous creatures. Become Wuchang, a skilled pirate warrior struck by amnesia who must navigate the uncertainties of her mysterious past while afflicted by the horrific feathering disease. Explore the depths of Shu, enhancing your arsenal and mastering new skills harvested from fallen foes. Evolve your fighting style by sacrificing elusive red mercury and further develop new techniques obtained throughout your action-packed journey. Augment the weapons in your repertoire with powerful enhancements, allowing for a unique approach to combat and strategy that suits your personal style. Battle against grotesque abominations, drawing on the ancient lore to challenge the creeping darkness that threatens the humanity that remains. Your quest for truth will take you through forgotten temples, overgrown ruins, and shadowed paths fraught with peril. As you piece together Wuchang's lost memories, your choice will lead you to one of several endings, each determined by the choices you made, secrets unearthed, and the allies you choose to trust. Immerse yourself in a rich storyline, dramatic combat system, and breathtaking visuals that offer an unforgettable adventure through lands veiled in chaos and death. Will you reveal the truths of Wuchang's curse and bring peace to Su, or will you succumb to the encroaching horrors? The fate of the lands rests in your hands. So WUCHANG Fallen Feathers is due out for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC via Steam, Epic Games Store, and Microsoft Store in 2025. It's also available on Xbox Game Pass as well. That'll be a day one thing. So for me, I'm kind of over the Souls-like games. I'm done with them. I think that after Elden Ring, and then I would say Black Myth isn't necessarily like a hardcore Souls stuff. They didn't want to classify it as that, but I mean, there's a lot like it, and I think it's okay. But I'm just kind of done with these type of games. But I still think that it looks cool. I might try it out. You know, you never know when it comes down to it. I like to get some of these games like on discount and maybe try them just to see if I potentially would like them. I bought day one Black Myth, and like I said, I like it, but I'm just kind of like, I wasn't as big on it as other people are, although I do think that it's very good. And I just feel like I'm kind of just done with these type of games. But they're still cool, and they're still going to keep making them, because these are the RPGs that are going to sell big. I mean, now we've seen Elden Ring, obviously other Souls games sell big. We saw Black Myth sell huge. So this game could definitely be something here. 505 Games is taking on this one when it comes to publishing, and developer is Lean Z Games, which I've never heard of them. But the graphics and the gameplay look pretty crazy. What do you guys think when it comes to everything that we discussed here, from the Banjo Kazooie problem that Microsoft apparently has, to Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake and Breath of the Wild, in addition to WUCHANG Fallen Feathers. Let me know in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first, and check out my other videos right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.